Thank you for having watched our speaking section. And now let's understand the writing section. Writing is slightly tricky because you have to have everything in place: vocabulary, grammar, task fulfillment. All these parameters will definitely make a difference. But it's quite possible to get a good score, like say 10, 11, really possible in self. So let's understand what we should do and what we should not do for an email, which is the first task in writing. So looking at the first part, there are tasks. One is writing an email, which is based on day-to-day matters. We have to keep it up to at least 190 words to 200 words. The time which is given is around 27 minutes, but as a safe bet, it would be good if you pick up around 25 minutes. That's the right target to keep, along with proofreading. Now, task 2, of course, is survey questions. We'll be discussing this in a different video. You can move on to that video once you want to go through survey questions. But in this video, we'll be only doing writing and email. Now, first thing we have to understand is what are the types of emails. So, the first one is, say, formal, second is semi formal, and third is informal. Just like the name suggests, formal is an email that we write to people who we don't know or strangers. So we have a situation, we have to write to the manager of a bank, or we have to write to a store manager. It could be people who we have never met or seen. So in that case, it's called a formal email. A semi formal email is when we know the person but we are not friendly with them. They could be neighbors, landlords. These are people who we would categorize into semi formal. And informal would be basically just your friends and family. So only friends and family come under the category of informal. And based on the situation, again, you can take a decision on whether it is semi formal or informal. The format will be okay. The format of an email, depending on whether you are going in for formal, semi-formal, or informal, it would differ. So, of course, for full templates, you can buy our ebook, which you would find on the link, which you can see. Otherwise, when you're doing it yourself, you can go with starting with Dear Sir, which is the formal email, and your ending should be yours sincerely. A lot of students forget to put a comma in the end. That comma is very important and mandatory, so do not forget to put comma, and also the spelling. The spelling will make a big difference, but you are blessed because in self-help you get spell check, so it's not too bad. But still, we should be knowing the spelling of yours sincerely. In the case of a semi-formal, since we know the person by name, so a last name reference is always good. So you can call the person, for example, say the person's name is Jack Smith. So we say, Dear Mr. Smith. So we are referring to the person in a formal tone, but it is also a little bit of a semi-formal since we know the name. Ending, you can keep the same as yours sincerely with the comma. Also, the first and last name both have to be written. That's your first and last name. In the end, once you sign off, you should have your first and last name both in this, because when we talk about an informal, you would not have that. So in the case of an informal email, you would start with just the first name reference of to the person. Say if it's a family friend, we just say, Dear Sam. This is just an example. You can choose any name, but don't forget the comma, and then you end with yours truly and a comma. Some people prefer to use yours faithfully. That's also okay. We have seen some references of best regards that will also do. But to be on the safe side, set a certain format for yourself so that you practice with the same format and don't change it. Now let's start with looking at an email. Now, like in this case, the email says write an email to a co-worker. Moment you say co-worker to coordinate a team meeting, you know the person, but you may or may not be friendly with the person. Assumption would have to be that he's not a friend, he's a co-worker. So since he's a co-worker, it's a semi-formal email. Also read the background information that is given. Like it says, as a team lead, you want to schedule a meeting with your coworkers to discuss a new project's progress and plan upcoming tasks. You decide to send an email to coordinate a suitable time for the meeting and ensure that everyone is present. Now, you write an email to the coworker. The coworker is going to coordinate the meeting on your behalf. Now, as mentioned before, the bullet points are very important. So, what are the three bullet points here? First, mention the purpose of the meeting. So, straight away, we must mention the purpose of the meeting. And you're writing to the coworker, so you say, "Dear," now you know the person, so we're going with the Mr. Smith part. Or you can go with Dear Sam also, because co-workers we don't refer to as Mr. Smith. We don't refer to last name basis. So you can just say Dear Sam, but in the end when you sign off, you'll put in yours sincerely. So Dear Sam, and you put a comma there, and then you say I'm writing this email to organize a meeting. So the beginning part has to be very clear, and then the purpose for the reason for the email, right? That is going to be very important, because you should tell about the reason in clear words. Now, like in this case, it could be a project deadline which is close, so mention those things in it. Also suggest potential dates and time. So the date and time, what is the venue? Where will you be having this? Will you be having it in the conference room? What is the date that you have decided that everyone should attend? And when we are saying request confirmation of attendance and any agenda items to be discussed, then attendance would be the last part. So now all this information you are passing on to a co-worker who's going to write that email. Right, we will be giving you a sample answer for this, so you can go through the sample answer in the next video.